Hey there, everybody. It's Carpo again. Welcome back, and thanks again for listening. For what it's worth, I'm making this video hoping to, somewhat express a few ideas I have about letting shit go and just taking things as they come. I mean, we have to face a lot of bullshit in our lives, and there's plenty of room to complain if that's what you want to do. And if you want to spend your life wasting away, waking up each morning complaining about all the things that are wrong in the world, looking up every grand conspiracy you can find, and poking faults and finding holes in others' logic just for the mere sake of feeling better about yourself, if that's your thing, go for it. This is really for those who have gone through a lot of bullshit in their lives. It seems that they're better armed to deal with the world around them. This is just a general observation, and it's of course a generalization that I can't, say that is a fact, but it just seems that those who have suffered a lot in their lives, those who choose to handle it the right way, become stronger people because of it, and I think we'd all agree. But some people take the opposite approach, of course, become either victims or they become the victimizer, in the case that a lot of folks who have been traumatized or abused when they're young end up being the abusers. We know that. But just as often, I believe, people grow up and they become stronger for it, and they learn to let the water roll off. Just let it all roll off your back. When people want to verbally abuse you or harass you, if you know who you are inside and you're strong enough, then you can stand up to that kind of bullshit. And I think there's a distinction that needs to be made between just tolerating other people's bullshit and to really saying how you feel. Now, I'm the kind of guy who says how I feel. It's gotten me into trouble quite a few times, but I set my boundaries. People know where I stand. I don't pussyfoot around and oh, well, that's okay, maybe I'll do this and maybe I won't. And, basically being a people pleaser will end up costing you in the end. So, in other words, I love helping people, but I like doing it on my own terms. And I'm not going to be guilted into somebody else's needs. That said, I do everything I can when somebody does need a hand, because I know that people go through a lot of shit in their lives. And I know that each person is at their own stage, their own unique part of their lives. And I've been through some rough times, I don't really talk about them because I really prefer to stick to as much positive as I can. But when I really look back at history, I've had some hard times in my life, of course. We all have. I think that there's a word I learned years ago. It was kind of a newer word called sonder. It was like the word of the day or something, like 5 years ago. And it was when you come to the realization that everyone else's lives around you are just as deep and rich and complex as your own. And that might sound obvious, but it seems to not be to people. There's a syndrome, I can't remember what it's called, perhaps not a syndrome, but a state of mind that many people have. There's a psychological term for it, but it's where we seem to think that we're at the center of everything, that this is our play, and that everyone else is just, the robots going about their business. Of course we don't believe that, but we only know ourselves, so we kind of base what we believe others are thinking, how they feel, all these emotions that others have, we base that on what we would feel inside. So if someone has a reaction to something, we would expect it to be like ours, and we're always surprised when people have different ideas about what's important and what's funny or what's gross or what's not. And so as far as letting it all roll off, what I mean is not just how other people treat you. And I wanted to get that out of the way first before I got to basically the way life throws shit at us. Now, if somebody wrongs us, we can speak up. When the universe kicks our ass, there's not much we can do. And it's all the little things that happen to us throughout our days that we can choose to let pile up. For example, by the end of the day, we can say, oh my God, I had to go to DMV today and this happened and I had to wait this long for this and it was too hot and my car wouldn't start. If you tend to think on those lines, you will remember all those times, and that will be kind of your normal way of thinking. You will start to find the faults in the world. But believe me, if you try to leave that behind and just focus on the positive, It's not some cheesy, flighty escape. What it is it's learning to retrain your brain to see things in a new lens. Because I don't complain about my day at the end of the day. I say, well, I'm hoping I can do better tomorrow, or maybe put more effort in, if I didn't, wasn't motivated enough or something. But everything's a lesson, all of it. Everything we do is just a lesson. So all the bullshit that happens to us, it helps to push us further to be better people, hopefully. That's at least the intention, I think, that we should have. Using our experiences as a catalyst to improve our futures. But, weird shit happens to us, right when things are going fine, we lose a loved one. We lose a job. Or we lose our house. Or perhaps something on the opposite end, we end up gaining an addiction. Or gaining a giant bill that we didn't expect. Things happen out of the blue. Learning to cope with that means just saying, whatever comes your way, you will deal with it. Whatever comes my way, I'll handle it as best I can when the time comes. Because if we sit and dwell on the what ifs, we'll be screwed. Good example, like I mentioned the other day in a video, when we were going into the Dead show the other day. First day they didn't search us at all. Second day they searched us, and they took a bunch of people around us. They took their weed, they took my flask, and all these things we were planning to take into the show. And this is a very small example. Some people, I heard, of course, complaining in the venue. I heard a couple people over on the side. This guy just kept saying, they took my pen, my cartridge. They took my cartridge. It's like, dude, you're at a Dead show. Forget it. Move on. There's plenty of weed here. You can smoke a bowl. But we tend to just kind of dwell on these things, especially when we feel like we've been violated or wronged by someone and that they haven't paid the price. And this is why we're so obsessed with justice, seeing justice done to those who have wronged others, especially when it's us, And in the past, I've been a victim of my own emotions after someone wronged me, and I went looking for them day after day. I wanted to kick this guy's ass so bad, or at least confront him on this. And I've never been a fighter, so it's not like I was really going to beat him up or anything. I hadn't even thought it through. What are you going to do when you meet up with him, And in the end, I confirmed that it really wasn't even him that caused the problems. The whole problem was built upon an illusion of what I thought had happened. And so often this happens to us in our world. When we feel like we've been wronged by someone else, we think that they slighted us on purpose. And then we find out it was a mistake. And this is why discussion is so important. This is why I think, I was going to do a video on emotions and empathy and how important it is for us, how awesome emotions really are, But I didn't think it would fit properly into this video. This one's mainly just about, when people call you names, what do? Do you fight back? Is it really worth your time to try to defend yourself? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. As a YouTuber of 8 years, the first couple of years I bought into so much trolling bullshit. People trying to get my goat and, pick and poke and prod. And to this day, I still get trolls who will say stupid things. Maybe they're not trolls, some of them. They just say things that they're hoping to get my attention, so I'll respond. And I always do respond. But I don't do it with a frustration or a, I've got to get back at this guy. But rather, quick quips. You got to be able to strike back, to tell people where you stand, at least. And you've got to do it in a humorous way. But I've weighed my behavior with other people over the years, and I've found what works for me, where I don't feel like I never want to offend other people. I don't ever want to get one over on somebody just because. It's only the people who are harming others or treating others like shit that I feel like I have to respond to. And that, I think, comes from that instinctual urge for everybody to be treated fairly and to not be merely insulted or harassed for how they look or how they dress or what music they listen to. Unique, man. We're all unique, and this world is just, variety really is the spice of life. Without it, we'd just be a bunch of fucking zombies, and that would be horrible. So, anyhow, I'm going to keep this under 10 minutes because I'm going to make another one, talk about emotions next. And so thanks for listening. I hope you gained something out of it, and if not, then whatever. Take care.